to briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm a PhD candidate at LDECEL. Normally I focus on virtual reality, but Marcus approached me about the TU Delft campus after we were inspired by the Erasmus campus. I also totally forgot to mention you guys just now because of the whole meeting crash. So apologies for that. We should have also mentioned that. Marcus approached me because I do also have a background in things like video games and such, and I've been basically supervising the Minecraft campus for the development of the Minecraft campus at TU Delft for I think like what is it, 7 months now. So yeah, I'll keep it at that.
Great, thanks, Nesse. And one of the things I hope that will become apparent during the presentation is that, you know, we've both recreated the campuses in Minecraft, but there's definitely a different approach involved. And hopefully you'll not just get a repeat of what we said when Nesse is talking, because they've done a lot of things differently. So let's get straight into it then. Patrick, we are going to, could you just show the contents of our session?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're going to start with basically telling you why we decided to take this project on. Then we'll go into the actual building process, what we've learned and how we did it. Then we'll talk about the initial ideas we had with regard to making use of this Minecraft campus. And we'll contrast that with the actual things that we've done. And we'll share all our learnings along the way. And then we'll have a few moments for Q&A. So Patrick, why don't you take it away?
Great. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I believe that was end of February, Erasmus had sent out a survey to all of its students, asking the students how they felt about the quarantine and how this would affect their mental health. And some of the top responses and kind of the overall response that we got back was that students were very worried about being lonely and missed having these social interactions with their friends. And immediately that started clicking for us, thinking, how can we try and solve this? How can we keep everyone together while we're all stuck to the confinements of our own home? So this also led, during the same time, we saw that an article from one of our colleagues, Frashida, had shared with us from a Japanese school that actually had used Minecraft to host their graduation ceremony. And that kind of really got the ball moving with the whole idea. That then led to another school, some of the US universities in the US, one of them being Berkeley, had kind of started the same idea as well, hosting sort of events or just having a free space for their students to come and interact and still kind of get together, even though the pandemic was going on or is going on. You can see here a photo on the right. This is the photo from College of Berkeley. Their college is huge, much bigger than the campuses here in the Netherlands. But what was unique about Berkeley's approach was that they kind of just had students who were part of the university would just jump on and build their own part. So everyone was kind of building their own different sections of the university, which we thought was a great idea to kind of increase interaction and engagement amongst the students. So that's kind of what led us into kind of from the idea development stage into how are we going to actually make this happen. So right off the bat, we knew the first people that we need to speak with were going to be the Esports Association. This was going to be our first time interacting with them, but right off the bat, we knew that it was going to be a great mix between ErasmusX and the Esports Association. They were super thrilled about the idea, and right off the bat, they knew a couple of individuals that were going to be able to kind of start building the project or building the Woudstein campus. It started with a group of about 10 individuals coming on, not really having a full plan of what they were going to do, but they knew that they were going to build the outline and you know, progress further through that. But as they kept going, we noticed that as they were building, they were noticing that, you know, the game seems quite simple to many when they first view it, but it actually is quite complex. And this was going to be a bigger task than just for 10 people. This led us to finding out about a professional Minecraft builders through our colleague, Jonathan. He had referred to us to this company known as Shapescape. And we kind of pitched the idea to them about what we were trying to accomplish. And they then took over what the students had already built and were able to actually work alongside the students. So we were still able to have the students' engagement and building in the university alongside the professional team. This video that I've clicked on screen is a time lapse of what we've done of the campus getting built. And it took over a couple hundred hours, I think 150, 200 hours for the completions of the buildings. once we had done the Waldstein, it picked up some more interest, and we were then able to further build the medical center, the university college, as well as ECE. The very cool thing that we had with ECE is currently at the beginning of the year, ECE is under construction. They're renovating it and remodeling it, and you can't really enter and you can't see it, but they had concept photos for what it was going to look like. So we were able to give those concept photos to Shapescape, and they actually built it out. So everyone from ECE was very happy to see that, because you were actually able to kind of walk and interact with how it was going to look in the future, which is something for us we thought was very interesting, because it was, you know, for future uses, for ideas of how the campus could change. This could be one way of doing that. Yeah, this went on from May to June as well. In June, we were finally complete. And what we learned, yeah, it took a lot more time than we initially anticipated for. With the other campuses that maybe have done this, you see that there was a lot more students that were able to make it happen. But with us, we felt that with the time frame that we needed, we wanted to hire the professional builders. Alongside that, the professional builders were also able to provide a custom texture pack. So instead of the game looking like it does traditionally, they were able to cater the textures of the game to look more realistic like the campus, which we thought made a world of a difference. And through the Shapescape company, we were also able to incorporate a really cool project, which was the train metro system that we have here in Rotterdam. You're able to kind of go down into a metro system and you're instantly teleported to the medical center, the university college, as well as ECE. So it really makes you almost feel like you're in a city, which we thought was a great addition. And lastly, we incorporated an Easter egg. So for users who are running around and are really exploring the campus, they have a fun surprise for them. But unfortunately, I don't think, Alex, we've had anyone who's found it yet. So I guess
not yet, but that's why it's genius.
Yeah.
It keeps people hungry.
And I believe that's all kind of for the building process we've had for the campus. I'm going to hand it over to Alex now, who's going to talk a bit more about the use cases of it.
Thanks, Patrick. So that's all about building a campus in Minecraft, a couple of learnings there. When we initially set out, one of the main goals was to have a project to engage students during the Corona crisis. Apologies right now for the background noise. There's construction next to my house, which I couldn't get rid of for today, unfortunately. Yeah, so that was the main idea. And then we also thought, well, once we have the campus up and running, what are we going to use it for? So some obvious choices: campus tours, onboarding events, but we're also looking into educational applications of the Minecraft campus. The idea that it will be the social hangout, the place where people can just go and spend time whenever they want to check in and enjoy the campus and just spend time together. We also looked at celebrations and ceremonies such as graduation, to maybe host those in Minecraft. And then, of course, team building events for employees and students. So what actually happened is quite interesting. So this was our original list. And then, Patrick, if you don't mind just helping with the slide transitions, that's great. Then we actually ended up with 3 actual use case applications up to now. Of course, the project is still running, so we've had experience in these 3 mostly, and we're looking to expand further. So let's just go straight into the education application. This is an example slide of one of the educational assignments we did in Minecraft. It was part of an I Belong project. For Pedagogical Sciences Bachelor. We had about 200 students in 2 groups on the campus. And the idea is that students had to go around campus and find places on campus that they would associate with specific words, which were given by the course instructor. And they would have to photograph that, give it a title, and write a small piece about it and why they picked that spot. So just to give some context, this is actually an assignment that happened year in and year out. And students used to do it in real life on the campus. But because of COVID, this was a natural option to offer students the space to do it virtually. And you can see some of the quotes from the left. I won't read them out word for word, but a lot of the feedback we received was very much about the actual feeling of getting to know their fellow colleagues much better, the students, and really the value was in the connections and the group feeling. We used Zoom and we made breakout rooms, And next to that, we basically were moderating these people running around the campus doing the assignment. It's funny, actually, one of the buildings was destroyed because we had forgotten to lock the campus. And it was quite interesting to see how, despite the building being completely destroyed, people actually started building it up again in collaboration, which was quite encouraging to see. And then the pie chart at the bottom just shows a little bit about the number of students that felt they were quite engaged throughout the assignment. So that was also interesting to see. So what we did next, if you click, the video should run, Patrick. So we ran a kind of poster presentation event, this time for the Sustainable Development Goals Action Day, the SDG Action Day. And participants in groups were challenged to come up with creative solutions to the SDGs. And we thought it would be fun if they could build them on top of the campus buildings. So you can see different types of solutions. There's one about life underwater. There's one about a sustainable house with a wind turbine. We had a circular production factory. We had an equality for inequalities. And again, with this, we found that there was a very high perceived level of engagement and interaction. But on this front, it was a bit difficult for those without Minecraft experience to really get into it because you do need to be at a certain level of familiarity with the program to be able to actually get really into depth. But the presentations were fantastic. And it was wonderful that the judges, there was actually a judge panel, could zoom around the objects in 3D and actually really ask the questions and look at it from different angles. So these were the two education applications we've been working with. Next to that, we obviously did some onboarding. Erasmus has a Eureka Week. It's basically onboarding for the full university. There's usually about 4,000 participants every year. And this year it went mostly online. So what we did is we created a game for students to engage in team building and to get to know each other. And we basically had these treasure chests, as you can see in the picture at the top left, spread across all 4 of these campus locations. So you had to teleport to the other campus locations through the metro. And the idea was to get students familiar with the campus. So we kind of hid, well, we didn't hid, we presented all students with these clues, as you can see at the right, page 1 of 1, where we described a certain location with the treasure chest. And students had to go and find the treasure chest in teams and then put the right clue in the respective treasure chest. So in that way, they had to collaborate under time pressure because there was a timer and also like a leaderboard. And there was also a certain element of strategy because there were 4 campuses. You had to split up and make use of your resources best. So who knows this campus better, I should take those clues and go to that campus. And it was a lot of fun. And there was also a lot of positive feedback from this. Students did get to experience the different corners of the campus. And again, the scores for being engaged were very high. We did use Discord in this case instead of Zoom, which was also an experiment. But what we've realized is that for the events, Zoom tends to work very well because there tends to be a bit of a tech barrier, and Discord is often perceived as confusing by people who do not game that frequently. Next to this, we also had another event, which was the HRM master. We did an onboarding for them, and this was a build battle. So they had to build in teams. And you can see from the screenshots, they were basically building an office space. And the head of the HRM master came up with a challenge. The idea was to build an office that was modern, but also, designed with HR in mind in some way. And the students really enjoyed getting to know each other through this because this was the first time they actually met. And in order to host this event, we had to dish out guest licenses. So that's also one of the approaches that I think is a bit different from how it's being done at TU Delft. We actually have 100 guest licenses, which we give out for all the events, and we moderate them hands-on. So these are onboarding. Then to close out with a final example, we did campus tours. Now, Delft has just given us a sneak preview of their campus, and they have an awesome automated tour, which we'll hear about in a bit. But we don't have the tech savvy power in our in-house at the moment to develop that. And we decided to just use the platform with our guest accounts for the Bachelor Open Day recently. And you can see these two screenshots. So these are tour guides. The tour guides are flying. We gave them the space to fly, and the tour attendees are all walking around. And they just have to follow their tour guide through the campus, and the tour guide answers the questions as a tour guide would do in real life and explains the different buildings and what they're there for. We found that it was also perceived as very cool, and Erasmus was perceived as innovative. We even did a pre and post questioning on the brand association for Erasmus before the event and after the event. It wasn't a large enough sample size for scientific rigor for a significant finding, but we did notice a lot more people were talking about things being innovative, Erasmus being innovative or cool after in the post survey compared to the pre-survey. And of course, in this way, you have a real person guiding you through. So we used Zoom breakout rooms again, and we had, I think, close to 170 people at the open day taking these tours in 2 sessions. And they were really very happy that they could just answer, get information in real time and ask questions and get answers from the tour guides. And it was interesting that quite a few of the respondents said that they perceived the Minecraft as a better tool for getting to know the campus than the best alternative they've experienced when looking at other promotion, recruitment, virtual tours, photos, videos. So that was quite interesting as well. So those are some examples of what we've been doing. We've run a couple of more events. This is not an exhaustive list, but we just wanted to zoom in on a couple of them. As I mentioned, we've learned loads in the build-up and the running of events, and this is basically summarizing a couple of the key findings. So originally, we expected the campus to just be populated all the time because it's up 24/7. People can visit it. We thought it would just be this social place where people could just go and hang out at the campus. This did not materialize as expected. I think on a day-to-day basis, we have a handful of people on the server running around. So this was a bit of an interesting finding. Also, we had 2 faculties that approached us about graduation-related events, but they were a bit risk-averse in the sense that these ceremonies are really the pinnacle of students' experiences of university, so they really have to be perfect. And some of the faculties were a little bit nervous to experiment with Minecraft as a platform for that in case something might go wrong or people can't get access. And of course, there's no voice chat or streaming possible in the platform, so those were seen as limitations. The way we run Minecraft is it's a bit labor intensive because we haven't automated a lot on the campus. So every time we host an event, we have to staff that. We have to arrange communication. So that's something we've learned. And we're looking into ways to find a balance there so that we can make it accessible to more people and more groups at the university without having a scaling issue. And every time we've had this tech literacy problem, I've sent emails a week in advance, 2 days, and even a few hours in advance of events, asking people asking people to download and install the platform, so that we don't have to do tech issues at the beginning of an event. But actually what's happened is always you have to have 15 to 20 minutes of kind of troubleshooting at the beginning to get everyone on the platform. So that's something we've learned to just incorporate in the time planning of our events. And then finally, the value in education seems to really be about, just the social glue, engagement, feeling of belonging. So far, that's what we're experiencing as the biggest added value from the Minecraft campus, to use it for educational events. So I think this wraps it up. Hopefully we haven't eaten up too much time. I saw a time note from our lovely host. So do you have any questions for our part before we hand it over to Nesse?
Alexandra, I have a quick question, and probably I asked you this before, so apologies if I'm repeating myself, but to administer the 100 licenses, was that a massive kind of admin procedure?
Yeah, thanks, Neil. In terms of administration, I was quite pleasantly surprised by the lack of crazy administration in that sense. Maybe Patrick can add here, but it took a bit of time creating all the accounts, but once we had them up and running, you know, through a simple mail merge, you can distribute them, and then just adjusting passwords every so often.
So they're cyclical. They're rolling over. Then is that the way you do it?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
But we haven't experienced people trying to hack the license or steal it so far, or use it when outside of the event. At least
there's more important things to hack than a Minecraft license. So
yeah. But thanks for the question.
Yeah, thanks for the explanation.
Any other ones before we go into Nesse's part?
I think we have one from the chat.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So thanks, Stella. Yeah. Why did we use professional builders? So that's a very good point. I think there's two main reasons here. The first was the time crunch. So we were kind of racing to get it all done before the onboarding kickoff at the end of August. And we really were a bit worried about getting it done by that time, by that deadline. So I think that was the main reason. On the second point, we didn't always find people that wanted to build that much. Maybe we could have done better at reaching out. But you know, it seemed to be a core team of dedicated students, but it wasn't that every other student was excited for the build phase. So I think that's the main reason. But we did have in mind an idea that students could alter the campus if they feel that things are missing or details could be repaired as a way to engage students from here on out. Great. So I think that's half an hour done. So thanks very much for listening and for the thoughtful questions. I'm looking forward to Nesse's presentation.
All right. Yeah, let me share my screen. Let me know. Oh, the monthly alarm is going off. I don't know if you can hear that, but it will only take a minute. Let me know if some of you don't see it well. Otherwise, I'll just start. So yeah, as Alex already mentioned, now I'll be telling you about the TU Delft Minecraft Campus. We started later than Erasmus because I actually basically Erasmus inspired us to start this. And as I mentioned before, I've been supervising this project for I think like 6 or 7 months now. And for what I will today be telling you about, I'll give you a recap, a very short recap, and I'll also discuss some of the things that we've learned so far. And I'll also then be focusing on our first use case, the campus tour. I'll go more in depth about that. And the rest of my presentation, I'll actually focus on explaining, or rather describing, some of the ways you can use the Minecraft campus. And what I mean with that is like for different purposes, but I'll also really focus on the actual ways inside of Minecraft, so the actual features that Minecraft has and how you can use it. It won't be too technical, but at the same time, I do hope to give a little bit more of an impression of how you can use Minecraft for different purposes. And this is also the main goal for my presentation here. I really hope to be able to, on the one hand, give you all an understanding of how we have been using and hope to continue using the Minecraft campus. And maybe we will find even more use cases for that. But also, we really want to expand the campus. The way it is right now, it has a lot of room to continue expanding. And we would love to really collaborate with people to add elements to the campus. So, short recap. Back in May, we had talks with ErasmusX, Alex, Patrick, Rashida, and they showed up this really cool first version of their Erasmus campus. And we at Cell were like, yeah, let's totally rip that idea off. No, let's do something similar. So in June, we set up this team of students. We had a number of students that really focused on building. We also had Danny Sluik, our sort of like tech guy, who managed to set up the server, made sure that we could build, but that like visitors couldn't break stuff. We had also, of course, Neil and I worked on some of the use cases, trying to think of how to really make use of this campus once it's finished. So fast forward to August, we basically had like a first version of the campus ready that we were happy with. We had a webinar where we basically answered questions about the campus and give like an impression of, okay, so far, what have we been doing with it? Then in mid-August, during the introduction day at the TU Delft, we also opened it up to the visitors. So essentially, like students could walk around and explore the campus. And we began to conceptualize our first use case, the campus tour, which I will discuss further in a moment. And I've worked very hard together with Frank van der Heijden and Danny, two students, on like making that campus tour a reality inside Minecraft. And we finished that like late October, early November. So what have we learned? Some headlines. First of which is Minecraft has its limitations, know them. This is also something that Alexander already touched upon. There's no voice chat, so no microphone chat, like I am talking to you right now. There's no text chat between two people. If you type something to someone, everyone on the server will read it. There's no video and image sharing, though admittedly, like ErasmusX like cleverly tweaked that by having resource packs so that you can sort of get some images in. But if you're looking for things like, I don't know, like I'm doing right now, showing my face inside Minecraft or showing slides of a PowerPoint presentation, yeah, good luck with that. It's not going to happen. So either you find alternative tools. Alexander already mentioned Zoom to talk to each other while playing Minecraft, or you say like, okay, well, I can't do this particular thing, but can I maybe like find a different way to reach my goal? Can I find a way to use Minecraft in order to still reach that goal? This also brings me to the next part. It does not suit all situations, and that's fine. It is like any other medium. A medium works well with some situations, but it might not fit all of them. My popular example here is don't use this. Don't expect Minecraft to be the great tool to use to give lectures, because especially with those limitations in mind, like giving lectures in Minecraft might not be the best idea, and that's okay. Like there's enough other situations that do suit it. Also, my general like conclusion, or rather like what I've noticed, is that you shouldn't treat Minecraft as a replacement. A lot of people think that they can use Minecraft, especially now with COVID, like a replacement for something in real life, and I don't think that's a good way to approach it. You should look at it like an enhancement, like an alternative point of view, and I'll be coming back to that in a moment. Don't expect a constant flow of visitors. Again, Alex already touched on this. Yeah, the traffic died down really quickly after the opening. The people got access in August. We had some occasional visits, mostly like the hardcore gamers came back, but like these days on a daily basis we don't get a lot of visitors, and I personally think that's fine, because again, I don't think you should treat Minecraft as like this constant flow of traffic. but instead like a tool that you like whip out of the closet every now and again to use for certain purposes, and not just for yourself, but also for other faculties. So like I say here, provide reasons for visitors to come back in order to see if they can discover new things. Lastly, do not underestimate maintenance and moderation. Yet again, Alex already touched upon this very well. It's like even the things you think are easy are not easy at all. Like having live events can be extremely chaotic. Like having just like 10 people inside a Microsoft Teams meeting shouting all at you at once with questions, it immediately turns very chaotic. So being prepared for that and having like the people, for example, I mentioned Danny before, we also have people like Jacques, students, having them be ready for this kind of thing is great. So the campus tour. The campus tour started, Audrey Bink and Erasmus, who is a campus tour guide, basically got in touch with us to discuss like, okay, COVID sucks. Can we do some sort of digital version of the campus tour? And this started as like Minecraftifying tour, where we could give students to be the chance to do the tour in real life and get to know the campus. For those who don't know, the campus tour is literally what it sounds like. You go around the campus and learn more about it. But we don't see it as a replacement. I mentioned this already. I'm going to mention it a few times more. Like, this isn't a replacement of the real life campus tour. This is more for time being, of course, this is like an excellent way for those who cannot be there physically. But once, hopefully soon, the COVID situation ends, we still want to continue using this and even expanding this, because it's not so much a replacement. It's a different way of looking at the same content. It's a different way of interacting with the same content. So we took the content of the campus tour and we made it in a way that you cannot do it in real life, because this is Minecraft, this is a video game. The tour is fully scripted. It's programmed, which takes a lot of work at the start, but then now that it's finished, it doesn't need like any of us like being there. So what this means is that you talk to a character, the character starts the tour for you, and you can just like follow it through all the way. Like, none of us have to be there. It can be any time of the day. It can be whoever, which is great. Let me give you some of the features. We have personal tour guides. They randomly choose one of these looks, so it can be a man or a woman. And they basically take you, the visitor, along on your very own personal tour. So they talk to you, they take you along, they walk with you, they show you things, and they take you along to these different faculties. In this video, you can see that me playing is visiting the EEMCS building, and the tour guide actually takes you to the elevator so you can go up to see the roof where they have like satellites and other equipment. Another cool thing is, of course, that you can also see this in the video, that they talk. So we use the chat to actually provide a lot of information about the different faculties. So for example, here the tour guide is talking about how the roof has these satellites and equipment. Maybe you go to a different faculty and he tells you something about that, and it's great. Some other features, we tell about the history of the campus. What you see here is the statue of Prometheus. Prometheus, the mythological figure, had a statue at the TU Delft until 2012, when it was stolen. And we give that information in a quite creative way. We basically make the player talk to the Prometheus statue, who suddenly shows up. And the Prometheus statue actually talks to you, says like, hey, yeah, so I've been here for a while, but I was stolen in 2012, so I guess I shouldn't be here anymore. And then he actually, as you can see in the video, explodes and disappears. This is really like a way to gamify it a little bit, but also to make it fantastical. Like you can't literally explode the statue in real life, whereas in Minecraft you can. We've made it interactive, especially to make sure that people find it entertaining and invites participation. A good example is that at certain part at Paul's building, you have this bike parking spot. So when you get there, your tour guide says like, hey, you should practice parking your bike for in real life. And he gives you this minecart that you then have to drive all the way to your perfect biking spot. So we also have gameplay elements, sort of like mini games that you have to complete in order to succeed, in order to continue. The one you see here on this video is when you enter the TU Delft library, the librarian asks you to find a particular book inside the wall of books, and you have to look around and click on the book in order to continue. So next up, we have purposes for the Minecraft Compass. My first main role that I'm going to discuss with you is using it as a medium for information. You have existing information about not just the TU Delft Campus in general, but maybe also something more detailed, your faculty, maybe some educational source, educational content. And Minecraft allows you in a lot of different ways to really embed that information inside Minecraft. And it isn't just like you put it there as if it's some sort of commercial. No, the cool thing is that you can actually really put it in there as part of an entire virtual world. So what I mean with that is making it more organically for the visitor to explore and find this information. If I walk around the Minecraft campus and a character just starts talking to me like, hey, are you new here? Did you know that the library has this or that? Like, it feels very organic. It also really invites visitors to explore the campus. And at the same time, you still provide them with the information that you want them to take in. Now, for a more technical example of how to do this, you have NPCs, non-player characters. So these characters are just characters sitting or walking around or standing on the TU Delft campus. They talk to you when you approach them. You can give them entire books of text and dialogue to talk. And you can either like make them give information like you see in the video. This character is telling you something about the towing tank, but you can also use it to really make people feel at home. You have these characters that go like, hey, how are you? Why don't you walk with me? I can show you something. It really livens up the place. We also can change the appearance. You saw in the intro video that we have Rotterdam. I also made Marcus together with Marcus himself. And the cool thing is that you can give these people a place on the Minecraft campus to make sure that they are recognizable, and even like if you want to be represented in some way inside the campus, that's a possibility. You can also give them behaviors. They can stand, but they can also walk around, as you see it right here, this character walking around down the stairs. They can look at points of interest. They follow the gaze of the visitors. So if you approach them, they might look at you and follow you around. It doesn't just have to be characters. You can also put them inside objects. This is the floppy tower. It's an artwork over at the TU Delft campus. And I basically placed an invisible character in there. And if you approach the artwork, it actually gives you information about the history of the artwork and what it basically is. You can use it for general functionality. So if you talk to a character, the character teleports you to a certain part. We do that also with the tour. If you talk to a character at the aula, she automatically teleports you to the tour. And you can even use hyperlinks to link to external sources. So this character is standing here looking at the wind catcher. And if you talk to the character, she gives you like this hyperlink. You only have to click it inside Minecraft to immediately go there. So the next use case that I want to describe to you is as a supplementation. You use the Minecraft campus as a method to enhance existing content. So let's say the campus tour. Instead of treating it as a replacement, you treat it as an enhancement or as a addition to your existing content. Of course, with Minecraft, the cool thing is that it already has this really fun like image of having to explore and creating. And I always say, like, use that. Try to give like a different point of view on the same subject, but in a more gamified way, in a more fun, fantastical way. You can put a lot of like fantastical elements inside. You can use that to give humorous situations like the Prometheus statue, etc. And again, to give a technical example of how you can reach this, there's this thing called plugins. And before you wonder, like, what the hell is a plugin? A plugin is basically this small program that you add so that you can do things that normally aren't possible in Minecraft. You don't have to like download these plugins as a visitor. We have the plugins on our server, and visitors who join don't have to download anything. It automatically like runs at their side too. To give you an example, we actually made some of these ourselves, some of these plugins. So Frank van der Heijden, really talented guy, student over TU Delft, made this plugin for the towing tank. The towing tank is this in real life, the towing tank is this device that they use to test things like boats, if they can resist the water flows. And we really wanted to recreate that for the campus tour. So what we did, Frank actually simulated water physics, water behavior, which is normally not possible in Minecraft. Normally in Minecraft, you place water and it's like, eh. And like things like flowing, water flowing like that, like a wave, is not something that normally is in Minecraft. So he made that. This is now something you can actually see inside the TU Delft Minecraft campus tour. But there's also a lot of existing plugins. Those are available online because, of course, we're not the only ones doing this sort of thing. We used Citizens. This is a plugin that basically allows you to put those non-player characters that I mentioned before, but also a way to make the campus tour. So when you talk to NPC A, NPC B starts to say something else. These are existing plugins that you can just download and use, and other people on the internet add to those as well. Then next, you can use Minecraft as a platform for events. Now, this is something that Alex and Patrick already touched upon. And it's something that we still only have just started. Like we haven't organized a lot of these events, but basically, especially now with current COVID situation, like team building, social and competitions can already be held inside the Minecraft campus. But we would love to see more of this because like you wouldn't need our help right now to organize something on our campus. You can just like organize it yourself and say like, hey, shall we meet on the Minecraft campus and do this or that, like hide and seek or something. But what we would prefer to see is even like working together with different faculties to really organize something bigger than that. So really like sitting together and say like, can we do this? Can we do that as events on the Minecraft server? So to give you some previous examples of events that we organized, I made a maze inside the TU Delft library before we filled up the TU Delft library, which is cool. Like this entire route that you had to figure out. And yeah, I mean, it was very entertaining to the participants, but like only a few students showed up. So that was a bit like, that also made us realize like, okay, like unless people really visit these events, it's not worth the time and effort. We also had a cell gathering, I think a few weeks ago, end of November, which was spontaneous. Marcus was like, hey, let's meet up in Minecraft. So a lot of us like downloaded Minecraft, and some of us even made our own avatars, and we explored the campus. Admittedly, this was very chaotic for me because I was also doing the tech support. So I had people like shouting in both my ears, asking me for help on how this works. But it's a good example of just like having a little bit of fun and organizing such events that we normally cannot do right now, or doing it in a bit of a different way. Lastly, of course, Minecraft is a video game first and foremost. So as a getaway, it's perfect as well. I already touched upon this during the opening. We have two different worlds. We have the survival world. This is basically the normal Minecraft experience, but so the normal Minecraft experience with enemies, resources, etc. But we did also manage to give it a little bit of a TU Delft flair. I really went nuts on this. It's all very nerdy. We made this fantastical mythological vibe to it, where we have like the Knights of Delftonia. I made all these skins with the blue color of TU Delft. So it's not just the normal Minecraft, it's also like this experience where you have like knights running around and wise old men with magic and whatnot. And you can explore that together. Like you can join the survival world and start exploring, building your own little house and whatnot. We also have the creative world. Creative world is basically a separate world where you have all these plots of lands. You can claim one of those plots, or you can claim multiple. We have unlimited resources. You don't have to chop wood or anything. And you can build alone and create something, or you can build together. The video you see here is me and Bibek, my colleague, building a house together, which was really cool because at the same time we were talking to each other on Teams. And you'd be surprised how relaxing it is, because it's sort of like repetitive work of like okay, we need to put that block there, etc. And it really gets you talking with your fellow builders about just general life, day-to-day stuff. So, conclusion: Minecraft is great. You can do a lot of cool things with it, and it can really enhance a lot of things. But be aware of the fact that it isn't some magical tool that you can use for everything. Personally, we've had a lot of great experience with using it as a medium for information. Like I said, like putting existing content inside the Minecraft campus to expose visitors to this information in a different way. As a supplementation, the campus tour is a perfect example of that. Recreating, but then also treating it as something different, as a different point of view. As a platform for events, again, like we're only just starting this. I think Alex and Patrick's presentation on this was far more in depth about it. They have a lot more experience on these events, but it's definitely great for that. And a getaway. I mean, again, Minecraft is a video game. Treat it as such. Treat it as like a fun little way to also really manage to get away from normal day life and relax a little. All right, to end. Again, we really want to expand the campus beyond this. As you noticed by now, we really want to see this link between the Minecraft campus and real life, where we sort of combine the two in a sort of symbiosis. Maybe sounds a bit pretentious, but great. In a way to help the you like enhance certain content that relates to your faculty, your education, your team. It doesn't matter like if this presentation hasn't given. If you feel like this presentation hasn't given you a good idea of what Minecraft can do, then I have obviously failed my task. But regardless, you can contact us and we can look at it some more. What we really want to see is people approach us and say like, I would love to, but how? Because that's what we're for. That's what we and Neil are for, that we can really talk about how we can do this. So lastly, if you want to visit us, you can access the TU Delft campus via the following steps. Don't worry, I'm about to post a link in the chat where you can download this presentation. So you can just check this out for yourself in your own personal time. And as we already discussed during the opening, we now have a connection between the TU Delft campus and the Erasmus campus. So if you're walking around at the TU Delft campus, over at the aula, we have this cool little character. You can talk to him and he will directly teleport you to the Erasmus campus, as you can see in this video. You only have to right click on him and he will say like, yeah, sure, there you go. And bam, you're on the server. So we really hope to also give our visitors to also give the chance to our visitors to also see how other faculties are doing it. And we might actually expand on this, make like a subway system. We don't know yet, but for now, you can actually go back and forth like that. And it's really cool. And that's it. I think I am like perfect on time with 5 minutes left.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
well done, man.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I also put it in chat, but I would like to know.
Oh, you're falling away. I can't hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. Thanks for the presentation. I love the project, and I wanted to know how does it circle back with your research? Does it? What kind of relation does it have with your research?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. It doesn't. My PhD is really on virtual reality. This started as a way to help sell, especially now also with COVID. This became like a thing. And again, like Marcus basically approached me because I have a lot of experience in this sort of thing. And I'll admit, like my enthusiasm got a bit of a hold of me, which meant that I may have spent a little too much time on this project compared to my PhD. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. But regardless, yeah, it doesn't really relate to that. My personal PhD focuses on collaborative learning inside virtual reality with helmets. But I do have a lot of experience on using games for certain things. Like my master thesis back when I studied was about educational video games. And if you can learn more from an educational video game, if we hide the fact that you need to learn something. So that's how I got to that part. And I see you also asked like if we were going to expand the city of Delft. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like we've had a lot of chats about that and people approaching us. But the general consensus was always, let's first focus on the main thing here, like the campus, because like now with the campus tour, I think we really want to have like several core use cases ready before we start looking into expanding it, because it's cool to walk around in such a Minecraft world, but again, like after a half an hour to an hour, you've probably seen it and be like, okay, well, now what? And as I mentioned in my presentation, the goal here is to make sure that people come back every now and again with new content. So in order to achieve that, I personally think that first having these use cases like the campus tour is a perfect example of that, because it keeps being relevant, like, and you can also expand on it. I think that's a great way to start. And then once we feel confident about that, then we can actually talk with people about like doing the entirety of Delft.
Sure. Okay. Thanks. Great.
I find, probably to add 2 cents here, I find it really interesting to see the different perspectives and different things done with this. What Alex highlighted, like really event driven, like using it as a platform for different competitions, and then also more the scripting oriented or automation approach. Yeah. So I hope that we can learn a lot from each other for these kind of cases. And you know, probably to add to that, we had also discussions with Microsoft, because there's a licensing issue behind it. Now we have built a complete model in Minecraft Java, but there is an education edition that can't handle that many people, but which would basically give us access to Minecraft for all students of all 3 universities, because it's included in a Microsoft license. So I think that effort we put in to have the 2 campuses now built, I hope that will lead to a lot more innovative work and events and fun to come.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, you can download my presentation. Maybe it's also smart if Alex can quickly share a link to your website in the chat, so people know how to access the campus. Because if you already have Minecraft, or if you plan on buying it, make sure to buy the Java edition. So that's Java edition, because that's the version we use. And again, like once you access one of the 2, you can easily go back and forth between them. Yeah, like I highly recommend to just come over and visit us on the Minecraft campus. We might not be there at that moment, but like reach out to us if you want like a more personal tour. You can take the campus tour automatically. We really push for people to look at it themselves, because the videos don't just do it justice. You really want to also be able to explore it yourself. Shall we go back to the main rooms? Because,
just shortly, probably to give some priming, I posted the link in the chat to the main room. We have made a short version, a more readable version of that. So we can just shortly meet up before the lunch break in the main room. And I think all information will not be lost that you have in the chat here. We will put them on the website, and everything should be available centrally after the meetup.
Thank you.
Thank you all. See you in the main room. Great timing, Nesse and Alexander. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna go back to the other room. Oh, by the way, Alex.
Yeah.
For like a full minute, I thought you were playing bass.
Really?
the buzzing in the background for like a minute. It sounded like someone was playing bass in the background.